Welcome. This is the Designed Happy podcast, where we talk about the human side of home design, remodeling, and new construction. I'm Katie.
And I'm TJ. And today we want to know, is a stress-free remodeling project actually a thing? I just did that in inflection just for you.
I know it. I don't know why I started. So it's the countdown stresses me out. That's what stresses me out. Countdown comes on, and I'm like news anchoring. Like, yeah, and
Uh,
I realize we're both introing it differently. I'm saying the Designed Happy podcast, and you're saying Designed Happy the podcast, and I need to change that. So
what one of those is the name?
we'll get that in post.
No, we won't.
Uh, is stress-free remodeling a stress-free remodeling project a thing? Is a stress-free anything actually a thing? Um, what stresses you out, TJ?
Oh, so
How about
I
your top
wish
three? How about your top three?
my top three.
Keep
So
it nice
when
and quick.
when you put this in the outline for today, the first thing I thought is, oh, I wish my family were here to answer this question because I
Like,
think it would be funny to hear what my kids
yeah,
said or what Kat said. Um, so if I'm sort of not getting like too serious about what stresses me out, like I'm pretty
don't tell us that.
particular about things. Like I like my stuff where my stuff is supposed to be. Like supposed to be is like heavy air quotes supposed to, like I think it's supposed to be there. So when it's not there, I say, where did it go? It has this nice spot and now it's not in that spot. So one thing personally at home is, like when stuff is out, right? And it's not where as a household we've agreed it's supposed to be. Like, let's say like I have
Right.
mail on the dining room table and I know, okay, it's like I got to get to that thing, but I don't have time to do it right now. So I leave the piece of mail on the table where I know it's not supposed to be. I know it doesn't belong on that table, but it's like I can't get to it now. Kat sees it and she's like, oh my God, that thing's not where it's supposed to be. So then she puts it someplace else. And then I go and look for it. And then I get stressed. It's like, where's the thing? It's like, I knew where it was and then it's gone. So, but now we all know, like cat cleaned it is, or the kids say, oh, mommy cleaned it with air.
Which is actually just
It's like,
put it
she,
somewhere.
she knows where it is, but no one else knows where it is.
As long as one person knows, I like, I'm with you though, that I'm like breathing a little bit more up here, not deep belly breaths as you're talking about that, because I'm with you on that. Hmm. Yeah, I am, as the therapist in the room, um, kind of excited that we're talking about this today. This feels like gonna really try to keep it to 30 minutes, but whoa, stress. I don't know if you've I don't know if you've been outside recently, but people are stressed, TJ. It's a thing. It doesn't seem like it's going away. Yeah.
I don't
Um,
think there's anything in the world that would be making people stressed right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
don't know. Or for like all of time, really. Um,
Forever, ever.
but it's something that like we I'd actually be very interested to see when it became more part of the um what do I want to say, like cultural um conversation, when people started talking about stress more, because I don't know that necessarily. Do people, to our intro question, do people expect their home remodeling, their home build projects to be stress free? Have you met anybody who comes in with that expectation?
No, I have not. I don't know if they do. I, I pretty quickly tell people if they have it in their head and they haven't articulated it to me, I get it right out of their head real quick because it's a
You go, "You're
super
gonna be stressed.
yeah, it's like
Get ready to get"
buckle up. Uh, but it is an emotionally difficult process throughout, and there's highs and there's lows. And I often talk to people about the roller coaster that like it takes a long time as they're going on that roller coaster to even start going up
Yeah.
because they're like, I don't know how to start. I don't know who I should talk to. There's all these things that stop them from starting. So I don't know how long that roller
Right.
coaster track is, but for some people, like we have a client right now that has been waiting to remodel for 40 years, 40. They bought their house in the 80s and they've wanted to remodel it for 40 years and they've just started doing it now. So that imagine how long the roller coaster track is
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that before they ever started doing anything. So I often talk to people about this roller coaster track and they're once they start, they're going to start feeling excited and we're going up. And we get to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, we kind of know what this is and it's really exciting. And then they're like, "Oh my god, I gotta pay for it." And then that like, the reality of it starts setting in, and then they're going down, and they get to the bottom, and I'm like, we talk through it, it's like, "Okay, that's fine, there's a plan for all of it, here's the plan," all go and they start going back up and feeling more confident, and we design the whole thing, and it's all detailed and everything. They know exactly what it's going to be. The
yeah,
construction team gets ready to start and they're like, oh my God, my house is about to get ripped up again. And then it goes whoa, way down. It's like, this is my house. And now it's ripped apart and there's so much trust involved. And then hopefully what happens is, okay, I can trust these people. I know what's going on. I understand what the schedule is. Things are moving along. And then it roller coaster starts to go back up. And then we get to the end and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so glad I did this. Now the track is higher at the end than it was at the beginning. And they've made real progress for their lives, but there wasn't a straight line to go
yeah,
up. There's peaks
yeah.
and valleys. So the very long soliloquy I'm doing here is no. The answer is no. It's no. There's no
But
such
yet
thing as a,
I love the soliloquy. I lo the
uh,
1, love a metaphor. 2, wanna stick with this metaphor. And 3, hmm, they said after they said after 40, you should never try to remember more than 2 things. 3, that it is all about knowing it is a ride, knowing that you're on a roller coaster,
mm.
knowing that that is what you were agreeing to, that, then, like, no and having a professional who also knows that and who names that at the beginning and says, like, "By the way, this is a roller coaster you're getting on. This isn't like a lazy river. This is not this isn't a massage. You're not in line for the massage. You are in line for Velocicoaster. You are not
Oh.
yeah. Uh, but, like, this is a roller coaster, and once you know you're on a roller coaster, okay, it's a roller coaster. You don't have to freak out about those uphills and downs and those twists and turns and the places where you spin upside down because you understand it's a roller coaster.
Mm.
Episode over. I think we did it.
We're
That
done,
was
everyone.
we did it.
Great work.
I mean, like, truly though, to have someone who at the beginning can name, like, "Yep, this is a roller coaster," to hear that you as the architect are not expecting it to be a day at the spa is, I think is incredibly helpful.
Now, how do people deal with what they're feeling? That's so I was super interested to do this one because so far I've been talking about remodeling, right? And
Talking so much.
I know, right? Too much. It's like everyone's like one of those S words from last episode that you're not supposed to say.
Yes.
People are like, "Shut up, guy already. We just want to hear Katie." And I'm like, "I know, I get it."
I
But
know,
this, from my perspective, this is really your episode because you understand this way better than I understand it.
'cause I'm the
And
stress queen, because I'm so stressed out.
that's exactly what I was
That's
about.
what
Yeah,
my
that's what I was
family
saying.
would say. They'd be like, "That's why." 'Cause
Wait,
people
she
don't.
she's the one helping people deal with stress?
Hmm, interesting. Interesting. She said what to them? Hmm,
Oh my gosh. So, can I
yeah,
ask you a question? Is it okay? I'm interested to go
only good
back
one.
to oh, well, now that's a lot of pressure. Now I'm stressed. In our intro episode, when we
Mhm.
were talking about what the heck are we even doing here? You had said something that I had never thought of before, and I thought it was fantastic. And I hope that we can talk about it a little bit here, and that's the difference between stress and distress.
It's life-changing. It's life-changing. Yes, we can talk about it we could spend a day talking about it. Um, Specific questions about stress and distress?
I've never thought about it as two different things. I only think stress, and stress is just a thing that I feel, and it's like, oh my God, I wish I were less stressed. I don't understand what the difference between the two are.
Okay. So it probably requires then maybe a fuller understanding of stress. And I would point everyone to the book The Upside of Stress by Dr. Kelly McGonigal, which is just it's a real good summary and collection of a lot of the data we have on stress studies, and it's a great way to reframe what stress is. And I will say, like, as a therapist and yeah, as a person, I this has actually been life changing, um, to understand that, like, stress is an inherent part of the process if you are someone who knows what you care about, know what you want, and you're showing up in your life. That stress is going to be there. I think especially for any of us who grew up through the 80s, 90s, where people were becoming more aware of mental health issues and the toll that stress, air quotes there, um, took on people's well being. We really grew up with this one dimensional definition of stress, which was that stress is um, bad. Stress is unnecessary worry. Stress is, maybe it would be, since I do this, like, what do you have a definition of stress, TJ, or one like how you've thought of it throughout most of your life?
Um, no, I wish I had some kind of sophisticated answer.
Me too.
It's just like I understand like the physical reaction I have to something that happens in my life. Maybe I feel like it's outside of my control.
Yeah.
I don't know if that plays a part in it.
Yeah. But that makes me think of like the connection between stress and tension, and it's this idea. Anyway, we I grew up with, at least I well into like beginning my work as a therapist, understood like stress is bad.
Uh-huh.
And the intervention for stress is to get rid of it. And the preventative intervention is to avoid it. Um, and again, in Kelly McGonigal's book,
A
it,
plus name, by the way. Great name.
right, right. And she has other things on like mindfulness. And I'll be honest, I haven't caught kept up with her. So I don't really know what she's into now or what she's doing, but I can definitely sign off on the upside of stress. Um, that just really presents data and anecdotes and interventions for how to rework your relationship with stress understanding it as an inherent part of life, as part of the emotions wheel, like it will show up. You are capable of feeling stress. And most importantly, that stress is often tied to what you care about. That stress is not an indicator. Many of us see stress as a forecaster of something bad's going to happen or something bad has happened and we don't know about it yet. Stress, like we cannot tell the future though. We cannot, um, es- especially like on the most biological level that stress is happening, it doesn't have any other idea of what's going on than what's happening is connected to what we care about. Um, the other thing that she posits in this book is actually the problem is how we respond to stress. She gives this example of test taking and and in experiments that people did better on tests when they were told when they like showed up for a test and they were nervous and they were demonstrating all the symptoms of a stress response and they were told like yeah, that's because this means something to you, that's okay, rather than try to calm down, try to relax, which is, I don't know about you, but that's what I how I was taught to respond to people when they
Mhm.
say they're stressed or to myself. Um, so that is again one that stress, to understand what stress is to understand it's just an inherent part of things and we will experience it, and that it is primarily tied to what we care about. And that doesn't mean that experiencing like overwhelming stress is tied to what we care about. Again, that's where we'll get there in a second. Um, and three, that a lot of when we talk about stress being the problem, a lot of what we're actually talking about is how we react to stress. So there's that. And I guess the simple way to say it is like stress is an activating emotion. So is excitement, so is anger, so is so on a basic operational level, we can see stress as an activator. It is something that um upscales our nervous system. Uh there we go. There's stress. Distress. Distress is basically stress that has the capacity to I want to say like erode, stress that has the capacity to wear down parts of our system. Um, I'm I should have pulled an operational definition for this, but like I think of distress as like stressing about stress. Um,
Mm, mhm.
Distress is when we like start suffering in our stress. And again, a lot of the times that's exacerbated and maybe even happens because we are trying to get rid of our stress because we see it as a bad thing. So, thinking of if I'm thinking of an example, um, like stress could show up in a home design project as someone, like their attention during the day, they're really thinking about what they're going to hear back about these plans, or are they going to going to be able to do this, are they not going to be able to do this. It might show up, it's just showed up as like a little bit heightened uh emotions or energy. Again, it might feel like it's really preoccupying your mind, it's where your mind wants to pull to, you're having a hard time not thinking about it. um Distress, distress, if we were like to see what distress would be, it would look more like going into, I don't know, feeling all of that activation and like snapping at people and not being able to sleep. And instead of your attention being pulled to like, oh, I wonder if we're going to hear back from the people today. Oh, your attention being pulled there, going into okay, here are all the bad things that are going to happen. Here are the getting a stomach ache from that. like from that because you're afraid of what you're going to hear, you're not answering your phone for when they call back for things. Again, I'm really like going into the behavioralism of these two things, but that's a picture of what the difference between stress and distress could look like. Does that make sense though?
I, I think so. So I'm going to ask you a question to see if I understood what you said. So
Sure.
stress is a thing that happens. Distress occurs based on how I react to the stress that happened.
It can. It can. The other thing like as you say that, there are situations that are also distressing. There's like, is someone you love is hurt and you are like that's an okay place. That's an appropriate place to feel distress. Um, Something happened in the home design project that like really changes things and was not expected. And um, okay, you might experience distress there. Um, but you can I think there's a relationship here too of being able to come out of the distress. Um, which going back to this roller coaster metaphor is like, let's say the ride stops for a reason, like an operational reason. We had to fix something. Cool. The ride's going to start back up again. Again, that's a part of the process that is being able to get from distress back to just your regular old stress, which includes excitement, right? Um, that is a place where who you are working with is really important because they're the ones who, like, when that ride stops because we need to do some track maintenance or something, um, they're going to be the ones who are giving you the timeline, who are helping you get back on track. And from distress to stress. So I think I just complicated it. Um, but yes, to your it can be. Distress can and more often than we think is happening because of our response to stress.
Okay. Is there a way to tell where you are between the two?
Yes. Yeah. In I say that like, oh, it's so yes, it's going to be so easy, but I think this probably isn't easy for everyone. If you're feeling stressed, you are actually able to think and feel at the same time. Like, um, all three major parts of your brain are all able to stay online and to work together and communicate between those areas of your brain. Um, how you might feel that, the reason I'm like, yeah, it's easy. And people are like, how do I know if um, again, that is where, I think for most of us, that is where we're able to maybe feel stress, but we can still pause before we act. Like we are not totally reactive, and I think that is a good indicator. If you feel like you can still take a minute before you send that text, make that call, yell at this person, or make some major decision, that's a pretty good sign that like you're in stress. That all three parts of your brain are online. And again, the most basic version of that is you can think and feel at the same time. I don't know if you've ever experienced, I'm sure you have because you're human, TJ, but like times where you're like, I am so frustrated. I can't think about this clearly. Like I
Yeah.
am, yeah, like,
I understand
times
what you're
where I am
saying.
so, yeah, I'm so upset that I'm like I can't make a decision right now on this or I can't even think clearly about this. That's distress. That's a place
Mm.
where you um and it can be the opposite where you're like I can't even think about this right now. I have to just where you feel more robotic. Both of those could be distress. I think a lot of us have the experience of feeling like I'm so frustrated that I can't think about this clearly, but that's a sign of distress.
That's great. So now I have a follow-up question
Yeah.
that's selfish.
Yeah.
As a service provider, as a professional trying to help is is there a good way for me to tell when somebody like if I'm understanding this correctly, if
Yeah.
somebody just thankfully I'm making this up and it hasn't happened, but if somebody just blasts off an email that's all caps and it's and they're just like firing at me and it is would that be an indication that they're feeling distress and I should be more aware of their emotional state?
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, when punctuation and, capitalization go out the window, that's a pretty good sign that someone's distressed. Um, eh, yes, and there to also gosh, texting and emails because you can send them at any point. That's where it's like a probably whether you're noticing it or whether the client's noticing it in themselves, it's probably a good time to like maybe we take this to the phone. Maybe we like talk about this tomorrow. But yeah, it could be in that like all caps is a all caps is a great sign. Um if it's in conversation, someone who really can't engage in the conversation is just like getting in and trying to get their point and interrupting or like not coming back to what again the purpose of the conversation just really trying to get their point across is can be a sign too but yeah
Okay, that's great. Thank you for answering my very selfish question.
yeah
You said a word in our before we started recording that I've never heard before, and I don't even know if it's one word or two words. Can
use stress
Yeah, what the heck is that?
yeah
You
use
is that
stress
what one word or two, is it like YOU stress?
eu stress
You stress. All one
it's
word.
stress of the European Union yeah one word use stress again it's that kind of stress that actually um that is activating, that is probably connected to what we care about, can be a great motivator. Um, and that will like cycles. It won't stay up. It'll come back down if you kind of like work with it and through it. Yeah. So it's that like good stress, air quotes
Mm,
there.
mhm.
Yes. I can I throw a question back to you?
Yes.
In our time left, does this bring up anything that because I again, I feel like I need more like an hour, to maybe map this out fully. So I'm curious as you're listening, if there are any experiences this brings to mind for you, personally or in design, of like stress that could have gone either way?
Yeah. So I have now that I know what eustress is, I have I think an example of that, and then I definitely have a personal distress example related to our house, and you tell me if I'm interpreting this
Yeah.
right. Um, so Kat and I recently went to Banff in Canada. We took a trip and we went to Lake Louise, and Lake Louise is a glacier-fed lake, so it's very cold. And the normal water temperature on any random day is about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 40.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go in the lake. Kat did not want to go in the lake. The hotel we were staying at does a guided tour in the lake. So she got lucky. I like cold and Kat doesn't. So she got lucky that it rained the night before. So the day we went in the lake, it was a very, very warm 50 degrees, 50.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
and even at that very, very hot temperature, it is shockingly cold when you get in. Like
Yeah.
it's the the amount of cold you feel is like the only thing that you can think about. But I really liked it. Like the shock that I felt, like it was almost like a little tingly sensation. Like I felt like a heightened awareness. So like I wasn't calm. So
Yeah.
if I'm understanding what like eustress might be, like it was beneficial to how like I felt really energized afterward. Like it was not like going to the spa and getting a massage. It wasn't easy to do it. I liked it so much. I went in the second day when it was normal temperature, so it was 10 degrees Fahrenheit colder, and I stayed in longer because I appreciated what the cold water was doing for me. Am I
Yeah.
understanding what eustress is?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're bringing up a good point too, that it's eustress is not comfortable. Eustress isn't comfortable, but it's it's a lot of the time uh, chosen, connected to what we care about again. And it isn't, it isn't harming us though. It's not hurt. It isn't pain. Uh it is discomfort. But so yeah, yeah. That's it.
Okay.
You stressed. What's your
Yes.
distress?
So the house we live in
Yeah.
is a house that we designed. So we're very fortunate to live in a custom home. And having spent the first half of my career designing custom homes for people, I knew a lot of builders. And the builders that I know design really big, really fancy houses in and around the suburbs of DC. We were not in a position to hire that level of builder. So we talked to three people and we picked one of those builders that we felt pretty good with when we hired him. It
Okay.
was a terrible experience. All of the bad things you hear about. So even doing this for a living and know all the things I know about how to help people do it well, like I couldn't be at his desk making decisions for him to help him help us.
Mhm.
And there was a point in the process where if I'm understanding distress, it transitioned from, oh my gosh, like we're spending a lot of money. This is taking longer than we thought it was going to take, to like blind rage, where it was like we talked about the stairs in this house 20 times and now the stairs got delivered and they're completely different. Like I don't even know what the stair person was looking at. Like how did these stairs even get delivered here today? So it's like I saw it and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this now because all I feel is like my head is on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's just that's distress. And knowing that we're past our time, I think I just want to like triple underline there that um distress makes sense when it makes sense that you're experiencing distress when there isn't clarity and there isn't communication and there isn't I guess this is in terms of doing any kind of group project when there isn't a like stated, shared, agreed upon commitment to the connection or the collaboration in something. That is a recipe for it to be a distressing experience. Um, completely understanding you can think you have that and that might not be what it is. So when those things like clarity and connection and communication, I don't mean them all to start with C, and I'm sure somebody else has this branded somewhere else, like, eloquently. But when those are not honored in a collaborative process, that yeah, that's a recipe for distress. And, I think I would just say to go back to anyone listening who just takes, assumes that a home design, uh or a home build project is going to be distressing and a battle and oppositional. Um, one, I would say listen to our last episode because as much as we're talking about money, we're also talking about fit and trust. Um, that is such a setup. Who you were working with, the trust, and their ability to one, know that you're on a roller coaster, um, to be able to, like, I don't know, communicate that clearly, so that the ups and downs you understand are just a part of the process, um, is is kind of the whole foundation here for what's your experience going to be? Is it going to be you stressful, or is it going to be distressing? Only you can decide. And one way to bend the odds in your favor is to work with Designed Happy. I've heard.
Before we wrap, I want to ask you a really naive question.
Mm,
Because I know that people go to therapy for years to help with this, but if someone's in a distressed state, is there something they could, if they can acknowledge that's how they're feeling now that they know eustress and stress and distress, if they're in a position to be able to acknowledge I'm distressed right now, is
mhm.
there something they could do to get back to a state where they can think about the situation they're in?
Yeah, and it's gonna sound really basic, but they can say it out loud to say, and I think this is where, to say either I am distressed about this thing happening. Um, I'm distressed about this thing that is happening. It may even be appropriate to say I'm distressed because I fear this means da 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 da. To say either I'm distressed or I'm really uncomfortable. Um, those are two. Um, that's different than I can't handle this because this. That's different than I'm anxious, which who knows what that means anymore. But to say I'm distressed about this, I'm feeling uncomfortable about this, to say it out loud allows your brain to categorize it and put it somewhere. Allows your brain to bring it up when you speak something, you make it conscious. A lot of the time, especially really, really smart, high functioning people who are so intellectual, everything stays in this like somewhere subconscious to less conscious layer. Your brain doesn't know what to do with that. And therefore, it's just like taking up space, taking up energy, taking up battery. And so to say it, you have to make it conscious. Then your brain can categorize it, can start organizing it and put it somewhere. And while it does that, to move, to like go walk, especially doing something bilateral, doing something that involves like both sides of your body, um, doing something that releases tension, like using tension bands, things like that, things that actually, that walking might not be it, but like meets your system where it is on this like physical level. Do some of that. I'm like
Huh,
looking over here right now because I have exercise bands all the time. They're a great way to actually like meet your body in tension and in this state of distress and be able to like work it out to a place where it's eustress. But yeah, I think a main thing is like say it out loud so that your brain can do something with it then.
that's great. I wish I knew that when the stairs got delivered wrong.
Yeah, and then you can go into all the breathing and mindfulness and meditation, but like set yourself up for that to be able to work as best as possible.
That's great. Katie, thank you so much for walking us through all of
Sure.
this. I think it was super interesting and hopefully helpful for
I hope so
people.
too. I hope so too, but I'll also add the disclaimer that none of this is medical or professional advice. And you should consult with your doctor or therapist. We mean none of this to be therapeutic services for anybody. Just
Perfect
helpful,
disclaimer.
hopefully. All right. Till next time.
We'll see you then.
Bye.